Welcome back to the podcast. You are listening to the Circle of Jerks Week 6 recap. The Circle of Jerks is brought to you by Motrin. Motrin for when you go up against a tough hockey battle and you feel it the next day. Sorry guys, I'm actually starting to bring in sponsorships because Kurt blew our entire budget last week on fine cheese and salamis and sausages and nice beers and stuff while we weren't here. So we're actually in the red. Bringing the podcast, so we're gonna start selling ad space. I hope that's okay with everyone.
Thanks for the spread this week, Kurt.
Wait, Ramsey brought in some Rice Krispie treats.
Yeah, he did, and they're delicious. And so, speaking of which, you've got the Bob here talking to you. I've got Cannonball Kurt to my left, always there for the popping noise. Going around the circle, you've got Raging Bonet, also known as Jer Bear. You've got John Ramrod, or John Ramsey, and Kenton Sawblade. So, yeah, Sawblade. You got the blue suede shoes. You got so many things you could do that I feel like you got teased with growing up, so I thought I'd go with Sawblade.
The best name mispronunciation I ever had was in high school. The announcer at a soccer game must have thought I was like a foreign exchange student. He introduced me as Kenton Zawede. And I walked out like, yeah.
Oh, that's gonna stick.
Kenton
Zawede.
Well, there you have it.
Soccer player.
So we've got the recap today, and a little bit of a unique recap for you guys because none of us watched all 4 games in their entirety. Jeremy would like to point out that he watched everything except for 2 periods, but I say close enough's only good enough in horseshoes, hand grenades, and delegates, apparently.
Nuclear weapons.
So we're going to do in the recap is each game had at least 2 people watching it, so we'll just do kind of a little bit of back and forth, and we'll see how it goes. So overall thoughts on the week of which that you may not have seen a ton of. Any overall thoughts from anyone?
Some surprising games. Not as surprising given some performances in some previous games. I don't think anybody really expected the Wu-Tang upset, but they didn't look good in their game. Outside of that, really all of those games were surprising to me because I went 0-4 again. So.
Talking about the picks, that was the second time this season that all 6 of us, of the 6 of the regulars or whatever you want to call us, even though a couple of us have only been here twice, picked a team and were wrong. And yes, Jeremy did go over.
Is betting against Jeremy now a winning proposition?
Well, considering that Jeremy is now 6-20 on the season for a whopping 30%, you could flip a coin and probably be
You
better.
definitely don't want him to pick your team for the next week. That's
I would have to say that I like to pick the teams I do for motivation because it motivates the team that I didn't pick to win. So.
Well, then, that's one theory. Other thoughts from anyone else, or should we just jump into the action?
Let's jump into the action.
All right,
That's how I like to play.
And as we're jumping into the action as Kurt plays, just a big shout out for Kurt Brownell this week doing pictures. I was scrolling through his camera toward the end of the night there, and it's some really awesome gems.
I saw a lot of sexy men. I saw Paul. I saw Air Canada bring his pimp coat, and I can die happy now.
So Paul actually brought that coat.
He either that or he hit an animal on the way from Ithaca.
There's theories that he fashioned that coat.
They may have fashioned the coat, but yeah, and thanks guys for bringing the props, and I think I got pictures of guys I've never gotten pictures of before, so that was pretty cool. I'll try to post those up before the weekend so you guys have things to explain to your family.
It's a good thing that it got warmer today because he left the coat there, otherwise I think he'd be pretty cold. All right, Bonet, you want to bring us into the stats for the first game?
Game 1. We have a Tribe Called Quest finishing out with 12 over the Sugar Hill Gang. Valiantly tried to take this one with 7. On the Tribe side, Mike Furlano, 3 goals, 0 assists, and a lady in the stands. For those of you keeping track.
Furlano had a lady in the stands.
Sure did.
She brought it
I
to
thought for sure that was tracking.
No. Jeff Burge, 4 goals, 1 assist, and a game star. Pat C, 2 goals, 0 assists, no ladies in the stands. It's been quiet in the stands for him the past few weeks.
He had a big start this season, and then
That's
got shut
true.
off.
The Strack Mamba, John Strachan, 1 goal, 3 assists. Kurt Brownell, 2 goals, 1 assist, and a penalty minute. Brett Siebert, 42 saves, 86%, and the second game star for them. On the Sugar Hill side, Gianni, 3 goals, 1 assist, and the lone game star for the Sugar Hill gang. Kevin Baldwin blanked, rather. Dave King, 1 goal, 2 assists. Kevin Parker, 2 goals, 0 assists. Raging Bonet, 1 goal, 0 assists. Steve Schultz, 42 saves, 78% save percentage.
All right. So who watched this game?
I played in it.
Did anyone watch it?
I watched the second half of it.
All right. So, Kurt, why don't you start from the Tribe Called Quest side? What were your thoughts on the game?
My thoughts on the game for the first period were, oh shit.
That's a single.
They were coming out swinging, and you guys had something to prove there, Jeremy, on Sugar Hill. It was pretty scary. I think we were all reevaluating, what our approach was, but there was one little thing that was lingering in the back of our heads, and you guys were fighting so hard. I don't think any of us thought there was any way you could sustain that for 3 full periods, and we kind of gambled on that, and we ended up winning that gamble because I think the third period let us just hold you guys off from scoring. We managed to come back in the second. I was a little surprised not to see more output from Kevin Baldwin, but you do kind of see like how someone like Kevin Parker's this sneaky guy that just, you sleep on him a little bit and he managed to walk away with 2 goals. And I guess our main game plan had just been to keep track of Gianni. He actually was playing harder than I've ever seen him play. I mean, he wanted it.
What's the attitude of Sugar Hill gang right now? I mean, is it just like is it desperation mode? Is it prove people wrong? I mean, if Gianni's playing harder than he's ever played, is there something going on in the proverbial locker room?
So, a lot of people don't really know this, and I hate to give this up for our team, but we've been playing for playoff positioning since the season started. So we've been
this is a draft for next year.
Yeah, we've been strategically picking and choosing our battles, and really all the games that we played so far weren't necessary wins for us. So we're just kind of going out there, we're trying new things. Maybe next week we'll be playing skirts. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff being thrown around in the group chat.
So, what other thoughts did you have on the game, compared to what Kurt was talking about? I mean, it seems, you look at the stat sheet and it looks like just another Sugar Hill gang. Leading the first, drop a huge second deuce, and then, try to make up the ground in the third.
Yeah, I could agree with that. Gianni was adamant that I make sure to tell him that we played a typical Sugar Hill gang game where we kind of go all out in the first. We look good. We play a great first period, and then you can visibly see the momentum shift in the second period, and then it's catch up from there in the third period. And Brett had a great third period. I feel like Brett had a great game overall. He was a big part of that.
Yeah, 86%. I had, from a stats perspective, I had that circled. I mean, that's, this season that's a big save percentage, and in the second period, I'm sorry, that was another thought. But yeah, he had 18 saves in the third period alone and only allowed 1 goal.
I mean, I think you can make a point that Brett's been the best player in the league this year. And I know it is rare. I don't think we've ever had a goalie win MVP.
No, I don't think we have.
But he's been unbelievable for him. I mean, I remember when he first started in the league, he was good, but this is another level he's at. I mean, he is literally winning games for this team, and it really takes a lot of pressure off you when you know your goalie is there. And I thought Mike last week said it best, is that Brett doesn't look like he's doing a lot because he's always in such good position.
Yeah.
And when he's in such good position, he saves your ass a lot and lets you, be more aggressive on offense. So he really took it to us last week, and I see he did it again this past week. And I really think you can make an argument that he's been the best player in the league so far.
He's got the best save percentage. He definitely leads all the goalie categories. I think right now, if the season ended now, he'd be a lock for goalie of the season. So the rebuttal to that would typically be you got Jeff Burge and Kurt, who are both known for strong defense. And it's not like Strachan or Pat or Mike are defensive slouches. So the rebuttal would be, well, maybe he's just got strong defense in front of him. However, I would rebut the rebuttal with Mike Furlano's own idea for a new stat category, which is the assist to goal against ratio. So looking at how many goals the teams let up that were assisted, they're worst in the league at 61%. They've let 61% of every goal they've allowed has been assisted. which if, it's an imperfect stat, but the reasoning goes that means you have worse defense because you have those tic-tac-toe type goals, or, you're letting those passes go. So that's an interesting, thought that maybe only fuels to the guy with the best save percentage having one of the worst assists against.
Well, let me give you a rebuttal to the rebuttal to that rebuttal on that.
Listen, there's a lot of buts and
I know, and now we just went into a different dimension right now.
But I was thinking it was more
I
like
think
a
we-
DiCaprio film.
To what John was saying, what Ramsey was just saying, when you have a goalie like Brett behind you, he does, and he'll tell us, guys, let me have this shot. Let me have this shot.
He talks.
Yeah, I know. He said, yes.
I think it might be
He
sign
actually
language.
talks about as much as Murphy owned, but he says much nicer things. But
Way less cursing.
he does say, let me have the shot, and I think there's a certain point in our team, at least in the Tribe Called Quest, where we will lay off a little bit and let the guys take the shot on them, which is necessarily going to lead to some assisted goals. But we're winning, so I mean the strategy is paying off in the long run.
How does it lead to assisted goals though if he's just seeing clean shots? I mean, in my mind would be a lot of these are one-timers or moving it around.
Well, a lot of times we're not moving back to get on the guy. And I guess this could be an argument for shitty defense on our part too, to not get back as quick. We do. There's usually at least half a period of every game where we let a lot of 2-on-1s happen, and that alone could be part of it.
I'll go full on Inception here and rebut. But they've also tried to call Quest has allowed the fewest goals with 46. So 29 of them had assists, which is among middle of the road assist wise. So maybe it's just a small sample size. Maybe it's just a fault of the stats of having just the fewest goals against. The assists maybe look a little larger.
I think what it does is it kind of gives you an idea of the kind of game they play, because they play the triangle the entire game. They'll have one guy back on defense and two pushing up the entire time. And while that does bode well
They
for
are
their,
offensively heavy.
while that does bode well for their their defensive stats overall, when they do get the 2-on-1s or whatnot, there won't be as many breakaways or guys going up and getting rebounds. They'll have to pass back and forth to get the one-timers in order to get those goals.
Yeah. From a stats perspective, one other thing that surprised, and it shouldn't surprise me, I think noteworthy, Strachan with 3 assists again. I think Kurt, last week, I think you said that he just kind of fits the role, whatever is needed of him. At first he was needed to score, now Mike and Jeff are scoring more, now he's distributing. I didn't see the game, but that's...
There's not a lot of ego on our team, which is a nice thing. I mean, it kind of lets all the guys just comfortably say, okay, if someone
Are you
do this.
saying you're the most humble team in the league?
I didn't say that. I mean, I guess you
You're
could
the
draw
humblest
that
team.
conclusion. We might be like nice guys light. I don't know.
That's it.
Strachan had 6 and 7 goals in weeks 3 and 4, and in the past 2 weeks he's had 3 assists each of the past 2 weeks. So he's now 5th in the league in assists. So he is morphing his game to what his team needs.
Maybe he blew his wad early in the season. I don't know.
Kurt, are you speaking from experience?
Speaking as a member of the Circle of Jerks.
And what happens in the Circle of Jerks stays in the Circle of Jerks. Except for the fact that
Oh
it's
God,
not
that's
recorded.
gross. Wish it didn't stay in there.
So, any other any disagreements on the 3 game stars, Kurt, from your side?
I had the exact same game stars as Jeremy.
All right. And I can't speak to it because I didn't see it. Should we move to the second game?
Sure. Game 2, we have the Roots, who I picked to win, falling to Pubic Enema. Roots with 12, the Enema with 19. On the Roots side, we have Pete Lundstedt, or Pete Lunchables, as he likes to be called, 4 goals, 0 assists. Austin, it's past my bedtime bull, 8 goals, 2 assists, and a game star.
It was a
Dan.
7:30 game.
Oh, yeah.
He should have been doing his homework.
Dang Gladding, 0 goals, 0 assists. Dave King stepping in for the missing Ian and Andy, also blanked, and Ian and Andy weren't there. Kenton, 48 saves, 72% save percentage on the Pubic side. 5 goals, 3 assists for Enright and a game star. Tim Anderson, 2 goals, 1 assist. Chris Lally, 2-0. Matt Galuli, 6 goals, 3 assists and a game star. Shane H, 4 goals and an assist. Bill Rawick, 55 saves, 82% save percentage.
Yeah, big game there. So who watched this game? Jeremy, was that you?
I was there.
So
I
you
watched
want- Well, yeah, Kenton.
I did a lot of watching.
Well,
not
watched a
much
lot of
else.
goals, that's for sure. Ken was a passive observer. Jeremy, do you want to start us out with what your thoughts were on the game?
Sure. I mean, early, it looked like it was going to be a shootout. I mean, we had 5-5 in the first period. They were trading goals back and forth. Austin was playing like a man on a mission. I mean, neither goalie looked like they were
Boy
poised
on a
to
mission.
what?
Boys to men on a mission.
Yeah. Neither goalie looked like they were going to have a good night after that first period. Playing down that sub, just playing with 4 guys, especially with a team that talks openly about detesting running. They seem to tire themselves out, whereas the other side, they were full strength, and Enright doesn't get tired. He doesn't even sleep, he waits. So I feel like that was a big part.
It's like a shark. He's just constantly moving.
So I feel like that was the biggest issue was the stamina on the root side versus Public Enemy not stopping. They really, I mean, to kind of stick up for Kent a little bit, they kind of left him out to dry a lot. Some of those inadequacies that we brought up about the defensive play of some of the players on the roots, they really got exposed in this game, which really kind of led to that landslide of goals that Public Enemy put on them. But they stayed into it, and they battled to the end. Even up until the end, Austin was still going hard, still trying to score. I feel like he's still bitter about Tim Scott, stonewalling him the week before. So, I mean, it was a good game. Definitely not really indicative of the score at the end, but, I mean, Public Enemy definitely deserved to beat them.
Ken, what do you think about that? Any response to that, or difference of opinion from sitting in that?
Not really. I mean, I saw a lot of pucks go between my legs and over my shoulders and through my pants somehow. But I think we, as a team, we don't have our identity when we're missing Andy and also missing Ian. They both play so stylistically different than anyone else in the league that they really dictate the way our team plays. Offensively, we get all our goals, all our offense for the most part, from Pete and Austin. But when we're missing Puppy, Andy, Monkey, Ian, baby, if I said that right. Dave King he's a great sub.
Brain just exploded in my head there.
Yeah, Dave King was a great sub, but he can't match what two very intense players do, provide separately. And
Yeah, when I saw that,
Pete struggled. They shut him down. And Austin can't carry our entire team's offense by himself when we don't play defense.
Yeah, it's too bad we don't have someone here from Public Enemy to ask them, if that was their game plan.
Oh, I heard that. I heard it from 3 sources on their team and otherwise that's what Enright and that's what Julie were saying.
That was their plan, was to shut down Pete.
To shut them down.
Well, I mean, it worked in the sense that they got the win. It didn't work in the sense that Austin put up 8. But when I saw Dave King as the sub, I thought, that sounds equitable, in terms of skill, general placement in terms of stats and whatnot, between Andy and Ian, obviously it's not Andy plus Ian, it's, somewhere, around those 2 guys and their quality. But you're right, Dave plays a very, very, very different style of play from Andy and Ian. And I have to wonder, how tired was he after?
Well, yeah, he played his.
He looked tired.
I forgot to mention that during that Tribe Called Quest game. I was going to give a special mention to Dave because he hauled ass that entire game, and he was running, I think, faster than anybody else on that team. So he had to be, puffing pretty hard.
And did you guys pick Dave because Pete has an infatuation with him because of his last name being King and wants to make sure?
I think that was part of it. Actually, our first 2 choices were Dave Zach and Joe, but Zach got struck down.
Oh, that's
Hey, way to go for the goal.
I mean, come on, Bill. I mean, what's the point?
No, actually, we were trying to get Newberry, but we weren't able to reach out to him before our game, and we knew we could talk to Dave King, so he was our backup plan that came through for us. Nothing against him. He was great in the capacity as a sub, but
So I got a question. How did Galuli get 6-3? I mean, like, I'm not saying how did he, like, I don't believe it. I mean, that's amazing.
I want to hear this
For
story.
anyone. I mean, if
Sad-
Air
sad I
Canada
missed it.
had 9 points, we'd be talking about how Air Canada had 9 points. So what happened to the guy who you don't expect to get 9?
So I'll interject here. Since I allowed most of, if not all of those goals.
Actually, it would be all.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Unless we had a goalie sub.
I'm sure we
I
can
didn't do the
be
math.
positive with that stat.
Advanced
Matt-
calculus going on in the circle of jerks.
Matt had only had 13 points before this game, and then he broke out with 9 last night. So obviously, you're welcome, Matt, for getting back on track.
That sounds like, by my math, 22 points.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good math. Did you
Thank
use
you.
your calculator?
Yes.
But what was it? Was someone were you guys leaving him alone? Where he
The
could
way
do it with his
Matt
magic?
plays, like I'm always playing the pass with Jim because he has such great hands and vision. He'll usually if someone's open, he'll get a sneaky pass in across the ice or across the floor. And so I'm always cheating, and I know it's coming every single time. But as soon as I start to cheat, he'll pick that top corner right over my shoulder.
He's
and
smart.
As soon
He's
as
a smart player.
as soon as I twitch, that pops over my shoulder, and I'm always
Twitching
kicking myself.
continues, right?
Right, and I'm always kicking myself every single time. And then I thought I shut him down towards the end. He got 3 in the third, but he got 2 early, and then I stoned him a few times. I thought I had him figured out, and then of course he scored one at the end on a crazy wraparound that my defender basically kicked past me. But
Wow, called out. Yeah,
I won't name any names, but it was someone on the team.
Now that you're saying that, it makes sense to me. I wonder if I won't name names. I'll just call out that whole effing team.
Yeah.
Because that's definitely go better for you.
If I
But
had
no,
to guess, it's probably Dan.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm looking at the one other guy in the team that's playing.
Danji. I like
Danji.
Danji. No, now that you say that, okay, it does make sense because I was talking to Enright earlier in the season. He's like, I just wish Matt would shoot more. Like he's got a great shot. Why doesn't he shoot more? Apparently, Chris told Matt that too. So, Public Enemy winning their second straight. Any other thoughts? Or I'm sorry, their first straight, but 5 points in 3 games.
Tim Anderson injured no one.
Yeah, that's. I was looking forward to a battle of league goons between Ian and Tim Anderson. But, Ian must have tapped out, or afraid of
I would.
I love how Tim Anderson's risen to Team Goon over
I'll tell you,
like Shane or a Dan or anyone like that.
Tim Anderson was motherfucking Kurt the whole time. Like, he's like, I didn't say that I didn't deserve a penalty. He's getting blasted me on the podcast like
He was
that.
getting hostile.
I think his accusations to apology ratio is way out of whack from what I'm used to with Tim.
It's a little bipolar, for sure.
Well, it's weird. I mean, like, he used to be the caricature of like apologizing for everything. He's not apologizing for shit.
No. Now Tim's gonna get voted all-star captain. He's such a
On that note, let's can we skip the 8:30 game and go right to the 9:30?
It sounds like most of you did for your team.
Oh, ouch!
That was a layup.
It's game 3.
Oh, I would have missed that too.
We have the Wu-Tang Clan with 6, losing to the Furious 5 with 7. Really close game. But Wu-Tang, on the Wu-Tang side, with Bob Hartman, blanked. John Chatterton, blanked. Joe Gant, 2-2. Steve Kazmark, 2-0. Kyle A, 2-2. Alex P, 39 saves, 85% save percentage. On the Furious 5 side, we have Paul P, 3-0. Jesse T, 3-1. Pete S, 1-0. Brad S, I don't know why they put that there. Blanked.
Brad.
The S stands for Burr. The S is silent.
Oh, yeah.
Bradley.
Gaffey not there again this week. Tim Scott, 47 saves, 89% save percentage. Game stars all going to Furious 5, to Paul, Jesse, and Tim Scott.
Yeah, that's fair. Who watched this game? Anyone?
I watched the game.
Oh,
I saw 2 or 3.
3 of you. Okay.
I watched the end.
So, just rapid fire between the 3 of you guys then. What were your thoughts on this game? And let's make it as quick as possible because I don't want to talk about it.
It was an ugly game. I mean, it lacked any offensive flow from what I saw. And I think you could just look at the shot totals. That really not a lot, went on. It's not like someone made 60 saves or something like that. I mean, Alex made 39, Tim made 48. but it really wasn't something you're going to want to advertise, the popularity of YMCA hockey, try and get new fans for this game.
That's coming from a goalie, Mike.
Until I watched the 9:30 game, this 8:30 game was the one in which I saw the most like flying sticks, just like jabbing at pucks. I didn't see maybe 3 or 4 times the whole night where someone carried the puck more than a few feet. It was solid defense the entire time. Like people were on each other. Like
Yeah, I'll interject a
some
little
weird
bit.
curve analogy.
I mean, you guys are right. I mean, so my notes here on this game, and believe me, it took me a long time to try to figure out what the hell went wrong in this game. Other than the fact that we just
you were catatonic after that game, man.
I
You
was.
just-
And I don't want to be like sour grapes. I don't want to be a bad loser or anything like that. I'm believe me, you look at my YMCA career, I'm used to losing. I'm pretty good at it. But it's just I couldn't figure it out, and it was something that John Chatterton said afterwards, is that, or something that Paul said, plus something John said, is that Paul's team basically out-game planned us. They had a better game plan than we did, and they executed it better than we did. And so what the two of you guys are saying is their game plan was to screw up our passing, to disrupt all of our passing, disrupt all of our offensive flow, and almost kind of outplay us in our own game, which is like kind of that puck possession, real defensive minded, real low scoring, kind of control the tempo, control the puck, and we didn't have an answer for it. Jeremy, what other thoughts did you have? I didn't mean to steal the.
I mean, again, I'm just coming in at the end of this game because I was upstairs showing these guys how to get their picture taken. Doing it properly. So
The plastic cones.
I came in at the end. So I didn't see most of the beginning of the game, to be honest. But from what I saw, basically it was the amount of passion that the Furious Five played with. Just everybody counted them out. They wanted to win this game, almost like it was the championship game for
I
them.
think Paul.
They were down Gaffey, too.
At the end.
Yeah, we almost saw Angry Paul.
Yeah. Oh.
So
I hate it.
He was really angry.
I mean, they wanted this game more than I've seen them play any game so far this season.
And why was that, Jeremy? Why do you think that might have been? We were talking about this a little bit beforehand, so I'll just answer my own rhetorical question, a quasi-rhetorical question. It's because we all picked against them. And Paul told me that afterwards. He said, like, the whole ride to Rochester, he was thinking about how we all picked against them and how he was going to prove us wrong.
It was actually funny because I was there keeping stats, and he yelled something about, like, this shows what they know. And I actually told him, like, hey, if you guys played again tomorrow, I would pick them again.
Well, great, because it's a good thing we don't play them.
Great, let's
again
just keep
tomorrow.
them like a steady, pissed off, boil over
And
point for the
of course,
whole
his response
season,
was,
right?
and we would prove you wrong again. Is what Paul said. So.
Well, I think with Gaffey missing, it was, I think in a lot of our minds, it was simple math. And, it's like, he is a difference maker, although, like you said, I think they outwooed the woo.
And I know Paul gets a lot of shit on his passing, but the 2 periods that I saw this game, he passed a decent amount. I mean, the Furious Five just really didn't convert on those passes. There were a few times because everyone always converges on Paul.
Yeah.
I mean, with good reason, because he's the best, probably that's ever played in the league. And he leaves guys wide open. He'll get the puck to the people. And I saw a few where they just missed it. I mean, they had open nets on Alex, and
from when the criticism on his passing started, he's definitely stepped it up. But you're right, the assists still aren't there, and it's probably because the finishing isn't there.
To kind of like add on that, on the passing and things like that. If you're looking at the stats alone, you can see that 4 out of your 6 goals were assisted. So that's obviously what's working on Tim Scott rather. And looking at that last period when I took over, because you guys were down coming into it, it kind of goes into desperation, and that close hockey games are the worst because mentally you just want to shoot the puck. And a goalie like Tim, he's probably the best at the angles and things like that. You're not going to get goals that way. So when you're going out there and you're running that gun style, shoot first, and you're not really setting up, you're really shooting yourself in the foot because you're not going to score on Tim that way. I feel like that was the biggest thing.
You hit the nail on the head, and I went into it a little bit there. I wasn't going to talk until you guys were all done, but obviously I'm just selfish. I want to keep talking, so I jumped in. But what the difference in the game was that they had a game plan, which I said before about the defense trying to screw up our passing, and then you're right, Jeremy. That was the second part of it. Is then we resorted to desperation shots, which you can't do against Tim Scott. And I mean, Tim, to his credit, had 47 saves for the highest save percentage of the night at 89%, and it got in our heads. So then we started missing wide, we started missing tall. Like we peppered them. I mean, we put 53 shots on. I mean, not peppered, but like we outshot them 53 to 46. We had a lot of shots on him, but there were desperation shots because we stopped passing. And not only is that the way you score on Tim is passing, but that's the way we score in general because 51% of all of our goals have been assisted this season, which is the highest in the league. That's how Wu-Tang Clan scores. So it completely knocked us off our offensive game. It was still a close game. 1-goal game at the end. It was close. We had a chance. If we play them again tomorrow, I think it's a 1-goal game again, but I don't see anything that convinces me we win.
Would you pick Wu-Tang again?
No, not after what I saw. I wouldn't. I really wouldn't.
To your point, Bob, I'm sure Joe was frustrated because he couldn't score on Tim, but I think John was frustrated more because he wasn't able to facilitate the offense to sit back and man the point. He was blanked for the first time in his career since week 1 of fall 2013.
Whoa.
Wow, that's stats right there.
That's
That's a deep cut right there. John is obviously a consistent producer. Even if it's only a goal or assist, a couple points a game, he finds ways to facilitate and get on the scoreboard.
I had that in my notes too. We're never going to win a game if John's held scoreless, goals or assists. We're never going to win that game. The couple other random notes I had is we did hold Paul to 3 goals, so let's call it a moral victory. You hold me to 3 goals, I'm calling my mom immediately and bragging about it. So it's all things relative here, but we did hold his greatness, Air Canada to 3. And there was a little bit of a game inside of a game between Jesse and Joe, which was kind of fun to watch. It was fun in the sense that up until Jesse stole the puck from Joe on the arguable call, and then had a fantastic beat to put in the back of the net on Alex, where he had no chance on it. But other than that, the game.
I hope the heater in Jesse's car was working because that was going to be a chilly ride. Otherwise, back to Buffalo.
Lovers scored.
Speaking of questionable calls, I wonder how it feels for John to be on the end of some questionable calls.
Okay, we should probably move on to the next game, 9:30. I'm sorry. I agree with you. My 3 game stars: Paul, Jesse, and Tim Scott. Anyone have anything different?
I had put Kyle in there just because I thought he would be. I don't know. I didn't see the game, so what the fuck do I know?
So the answer is no. Everybody's.
I gave Tim the first game star. I think he was the biggest difference maker.
We don't really rank the game stars.
Well, okay then.
So we're all in agreement.
Yeah.
9:30.
Yeah, 9:30. All right. NWA 13 and destroying my hopes of picking a right winner against Run DMC with 12.
Really, in all fairness, Run DMC was screwed as soon as you picked them.
Thank you. I'm happy Run DMC.
I'm telling you, it's that motivation. So on the NWA side, we have Mike Bryant, 5 goals, 2 assists, and a game star. Mike Sturgis, 6 goals, 1 assist, and a game star. Jamie H., not even going to try it, 0 goals and 2 assists. Steve Newberry, 2 and 1. Dave Foss, yelling at home. Ryan
that was vomiting.
Oh, yeah. They sound the same. Ryan Conco, 57 saves, 83% save percentage. On the run side, Zach Davis, 4 goals, 2 assists, and a game star. Brian D, 3 goals and 2 assists. Jerry, 1 and 1. Chris Masikowski. I'm not gonna.
Wow.
I can't do
off
it.
Off night.
Yeah, off night. I'm running out, but I promise I'll have one next week. 3 and 1 for him. Rob Maston, 1 and 2. John Ramsey, 40 goals or 40 saves, 75%.
I killed it.
No, he scored 40.
All right. Well, I watched this
I'm
game,
chatting.
so I'll start out on this one. For those of you who don't have who didn't watch the game or don't have the period by period, this was an interesting game to watch. I mean, NWA was trailing 3-5 after the first. They were trailing 8-10 after the second. Like in the whole game, pretty much. I think they tied it up at one point in the second, maybe if I remember correctly. But immediately Run DMC went and scored again. So it was almost the entire game Run DMC was winning up until like midway through the third period, maybe even 2/3 of the way through the third period, when NWA got hot and they ran away with it a little bit, and Run DMC just ran out of goals. And they were still putting great shots on net. I want to give Conco game star. I'm not, but I want to because he had an amazing third period. I can't give him a game star because his first 2 weren't great, but his third period was just maybe the difference in the game with a 92% in the third period alone. Jeremy's shaking his head.
So I would say that the reason and the biggest thing was just even Kurt went to take a piss, came back, and NWA was up by a goal. They were down 3. Kurt goes to take a piss. He comes back and they're up a goal because Mike Sturgis scored 3 goals.
He scored 3 goals in the length of a piss. Now,
is that a metric length of piss?
If we were doing like a circle of jerks piss where we've had 3 beers in us, then I could see it happening. But this was just a regular Y had 1 Gatorade piss, and it was. I walked in. I thought, did they switch the scoreboard around or something?
No, it was
pretty cool.
It was quite the momentum shift there. It was quite a change. And to that point, the Mike to Mike connection might be here, guys. Yeah. I mean, we've been talking about how Mike Bryan doesn't really pass that much. I mean, he's kind of the Paul White of the league. And Mike Sturgis and his style hasn't really meshed well with Mike Bryan. But, they got 3 assists between the two of them, 11 goals, 3 assists between the two of them. And one of them was, spoiler alert, my play of the week. So, they're starting to mesh. They're starting to look really good together. Jeremy, you're not sold still.
I mean, obviously, team-wise, assisted goals is a lot better than just the assisted goals on just those two. I mean, I still think 3 on 11 is not quite where they want to be on assist. I feel like individually they both played great games. I don't think that it was really the tandem of them that were really putting a dent into the other team.
Well, I mean, the assists were 3 on 11. It was just
for those two, for Mike and
players,
Mike,
they didn't just assist each other. Actually, the third period is another note I have. They had 5 goals in the third, but 4 of them were assisted.
Yeah.
So what that says to me is their teamwork as a whole, like you're saying, stepped up huge in the third period. I mean, 80% of your goals assisted in the third.
Yeah, it just is because
John's going to speak to experience on that, right?
I play. One thing that they did is that they put Sturgis in front of the net, and starting in the late second, early third in the third period, and that's really where a lot of their goals came from. They did a great job getting in front of me, getting the garbage shots, and the garbage goals, and that's one thing we've struggled with as well. Is that we haven't been able to. We're not the most defensive team in the world, and we knew that going in, but Sturgis he's a big dude. And he fired a bunch of them in there, and we're 5-1 after 2 periods. If you go through, we're 5. If there were 2 period games, we'd be 5-1, but we're 1-5. And I would give Conco a 3rd game star. I thought he was fantastic in the 3rd.
Yeah, I mean that third period is just. I mean, I can't take it from Mike or Mike though because they were huge. And Zach kept you guys in it. I mean, Zach. I mean, but stats wise, he's only 1 point ahead of D'Angelo, but. It's just the general in him. I mean, just the way that he commands the entire floor. The whole team just feels different with him out there.
Well, he's good at feeding the other players on his team. He's got enough stick handling skill that he can get it to D'Angelo and keep D'Angelo's counts up like that. Because I was watching this game and just like I said, the intensity level of it alone. Leading into what you were talking about, I had the same play of the week as you did, and. It was just a fun game to watch. It was kind of a counterpoint to some of the game before I didn't see, but it sounds like it was kind of a not a great one to watch. Yeah, so this one was just there were a lot of fireworks in this one.
Yeah.
It was fun to watch these guys.
The fans got their money's worth.
Yeah, I mean I was whooping over there on the corner, but it was just like whooping, like exciting, like it was my own team up there.
Can you demonstrate a whoop?
No, because I don't want to peek on the mic.
Okay.
You want to what on the mic?
Listen.
All right. I will say I think this was our best game of the year. We play like this every week. We're gonna do fine. We just gotta keep working hard, play our game. And listen, we're not gonna win 7 to 6 games. That's not us. We're gonna win 13 to 12 games. Occasionally.
Oh, apparently not.
Yeah, apparently not. But I mean, listen. I had one where the puck was a pass in front and went off JJ's leg. It goes in. I have one that I stopped my blocker. It triples over my glove. My head. I mean, there's 2 random just shit goals there.
For Run, it was nice to see.
Yeah,
Chris Milkowski come back into it.
Listen, Chris and Rob can shoot the puck. I mean, they can shoot, and we just got to embrace the hard work. And I got to take responsibility. Listen, I think top to bottom, we have the 5 most We have really, really talented guys on the
You're just
team.
gonna say the most five, the best five.
I think we do.
He's also running in the humility compartment.
No, I'm not. I'm not because
most
I think we do, and I think a lot of it comes down to me, and I got to step it up and stop Mo Fox.
You know, part of that's probably true, but the other part is that they're not giving you a lot of, they're not contesting a lot of the shots that you're facing. But, you know, either way, I don't really have a great answer for it, but I do have to say, John, every single person on your team, let me rephrase that. Nobody on your team had any zeros in the stat sheet on goals or assists. Everyone contributed. Everyone had at least a goal or at least an assist and both. Like 4 and 2, 3 and 2, 1 and 1, 3 and 1, 1 and 2. That is a well-rounded, complete team effort.
To add to that, I mean, I don't want to dig in my bag to get the stats, but I want to say that that's the story of that team for at least the past 3 games, that nobody on their team is blanked.
Yeah, we'll have to look at that for the preview edition because that's an interesting thought. I mean, because maybe John's right. Maybe they have the deepest team in scoring, but that doesn't mean they're the deepest team in defense. And so, you know, I'm not going to put it all on Ramsey here. There's probably some shared responsibility. I'll not put it all on you.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't have Foes playing for NWA, and I mean, you got Jamie, Steve, and Foes, you know, playing against you. That would have, I don't know if you would have had as many goals as you had.
But
Yeah.
Sturgis and Brian are great shooters. I mean,
they're fantastic.
Mike's probably the nicest guy in the league too. I mean,
Yeah, he
not
wins the
to
Andrew
the-
Luck Award, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, they're great. They're a great team. And when Compo gets hot, they're going to be really tough to beat.
The only other, that's a good point too, is when Conco gets hot. Because again, you guys were winning 10-8 after 2 when Conco had a 77%, 78% save percentage going through the second.
Are we talking about like when Kevin gets hot, or are we talking about when Chicago starts to play well?
Okay. So when Congo plays to a standard that we are used to. Because when Congo gets hot, he's unstoppable. But like when Congo gets back to like Congo of fall 2015, you know, just a couple of short months ago, you know, you can't beat this team right now. Any other thoughts on this game? I had Zach, Mike and Mike as my game stars.
Yeah,
Any other
same
disagreement other than
here.
Ramsey? Did you take it away from Zach to give?
Yeah, I take it away from Zach. I think Mike, and Compo are the 3 best players.
All right. Let's head to the 3 stars of the week. Mr. Bonet.
Official 3 stars of the week. We have Austin Bowl, Matt Galuli, Mike Sturgis.
So I've got Austin and Matt as well. I mean, 10 points, 9 points, just huge weeks by both of them. Maybe this is some bias here, but I got Tim Scott as my third game star.
I had Tim Scott.
I know that we talked about you got to break 90 to make it, but I mean, he was in our heads. Everyone on our team was just like, we cannot score on him right now.
I agree with that. I mean, Tim's going up against you guys we're the number 1 team in the league. And, you know, he's so well, he keeps you to 6 goals. I have him as a star along with Jaluli and Sturgis.
It's so take away from Austin.
Yeah, 8 and 2 is great. Stat-wise, that's awesome, but when you lose a game by 7 goals, or 5 or whatever it was, I don't know.
Math is hard.
Again, I don't have the numbers in front of me. I just know I let in a lot of goals.
I did the same thing as Ken did
It's,
too.
it's not.
You took it from Austin.
I took it from
Yeah.
Austin not because I guess it's just that I expect great things from Austin, and I almost wasn't surprised to see him score as many goals as he did because I've seen that just percolating right below the surface all along. But to see what Ferngully did, I mean, he's the one who he put his team out in front so far that they could just play in a more relaxed style and really win that game, and it was an impressive showing by him.
I also feel like half of Austin's point tally should have come last week, and that's what he was playing. He felt like half of that was owed to him last week.
Yeah, but Tim Scott was impressive. I mean, to see that team just held to so few goals for all the players that were used to putting up massive points was just.
Yeah, that was the
impressive.
fewest goals allowed of the season so far, tied with Public Enemy, with 6 goals allowed.
I mean, yeah, Blake and Chatterton keeping Joe to 2. That's
Let's put this
impressive.
in perspective for a second, though. We're talking about Austin scoring 8 goals, maybe not getting a game star. We're split, that's fine. He's a rookie. We're talking about a rookie scoring 8
No
goals.
rookie love.
And we're
Yeah, wow.
maybe he's a game star, but I kind of expect that from him. And they lost, so.
I think we've had some pretty good rookie seasons in the past. I mean,
It's a really tight race for Rookie of the Year this year.
yeah.
I would say there's
I
probably
think
2
he's tied.
frontrunners.
I think he's tied for first.
Yeah, there's definitely 2 strong candidates for that award. What were your game stars, Ramsey, or week stars?
Yeah, I didn't see the first 2 games, so they sound good to me. I was gonna say I did play with Austin in the Winter Classic though, and fantastic hands. I mean, really just a natural goal scorer, and I think if he would be more aggressive on the offensive end, I think he could score even more. I think he's still feeling his way out a little bit, just because, like you say, he is a rookie.
Yeah. Plays of the week. Kurt and I have the same one, so I'll end as best I can. You can add some color if you want, Kurt. Our play of the week, we're cheating, is about a 30-second span. It's in the 4th game of the night, 3rd period. About 7 minutes left in the 3rd. Conco kick saves. Zach is wide open on the right side of the net. I think it was pass to him, or maybe it was a rebound or something. I think it was pass. He's right there. Like 2 feet from Conco. Conco slides his foot over, kick saves, goes down to Ramsey. Ramsey makes a big save on, I think it was a Sturgis shot. Comes back over to Conco. Conco makes a relatively routine save. Comes back over the other side of the floor, back and forth with his 30 seconds. Sturgis is behind the net, feeds Mike Bryant for a one-timer right in the back of the net on Ramsey. It was an exciting 30 seconds hockey. I think I held my breath.
I did not. I was whooping.
You were whooping.
I was yelling. I was excited. I felt like, that scene in the Avengers trailer when you just see all the Avengers like flying through the air in slow motion. I felt like both teams were like that, coming at each other. And I just remember thinking to myself, like, this is the greatest hockey I've ever seen played. It wasn't even a playoff game. It's just both teams wanted it so bad, and it was just fun as hell to watch.
It was the best hockey I've seen this season. Was that 3rd period, and a close second in my play of the week would be like the end of the game when it was so close back and forth again, just high quality passing, high quality shooting.
Yeah, Zach scored with 12 seconds left. I mean, I don't remember anything that stood out in that game except for that. To me, that was the play of the game, just because for most of the 3rd period or play of the week, because for most of the 3rd period they were behind. And then 12 seconds left, Zach scores, and
Bergelli tried to call a timeout. He was watching.
Yeah.
Timeout!
Just like that, they were right back in it. I mean, it came down to the end because of that.
I got 2 real quick. One, I thought we hit one of the prettiest goals of the season. Zach was on defense, made a quick pass to Brian. Brian basically one-timed it across right to JJ, and JJ hit it in. I mean, it was tic-tac-toe.
And when Brian gets an assist, it's noteworthy.
But also, I told Conco I would bring it up. Apparently, Brent had one of the best saves ever. Were you going to bring it up? Go ahead, Jeremy. Go ahead.
All right, so that's my play of the week, and I know that
Conco told every single one of us we had to list this.
Mm-hmm.
No, this is
definitely a message personally.
Yeah, I didn't even see the game. He's like, yo, bro, you gotta listen.
Yeah,
to
this was definitely mine. I was involved, so that's a bonus there. But Conco, I think, said, I don't know if Brett said something, because I think he's like Black Bolt, and if he talks, he destroys the world. He might have wrote it down on a piece of paper for Conco, where he said that, he said that he's not really the most, he doesn't want to showboat or anything like that, but he was shocked that there was no reaction to the save, and I agree with him. And I feel like it was the biggest thing. It was the turning point of that game, which started to kind of turn the tide for them to take over in that second and put up big numbers. I was coming down, trying to take a shot stick side, and he just kind of, I'm seeing 4 feet of open net basically, and then stick comes out of nowhere and just kind of basically makes enough contact to derail it to go wide. And that was really the beginning of the end for us there. So.
And this team says nothing to him about it.
And from what I heard, nobody even reacted.
No.
Nobody cheered, nobody clapped, nobody whooped even.
Maybe we put a little too much faith in our goalie to the fact that we.
Oh yeah,
I think we might be
just
taking
threw
him for
his stick
granted.
at a puck and
It's just
saved
sad
it. That's just a day in the office.
We might be neglecting him in a relationship, and I think we're probably gonna need to bring him some flowers or something. But
I'm telling you, MVP.
No.
Maybe MVP or maybe an award. Maybe the John Strachan Award for a great play that nobody noticed. The Brett Siebert stick save.
At least Furlano should at least apologize for not saying it.
I'm sure he already has. He probably started out the game with an apology for any transgressions that may have occurred. So that was my first award, was the John Strachan Award for things that go unnoticed. The next award I have for the week is the Con Air featuring Nicolas Cage breakout performance of Matt Galooly with 9 points, replacing the proactive breakout award of the week. And the Sarah Bareilles Brave Award of the week going to Steve Newberry, getting hit in the on a Zach or a Mike Bryant shot, I think it was.
He didn't give a shit.
Yeah, hits in the throat with the puck and doesn't even flinch. Like, just keeps going.
He like whipped his hair to the side.
Yeah,
That's good.
it was.
Yeah.
I was between the Katy Perry Brave or I think the Sarah Bareilles Katy Perry Roar award of the week rather. Was gonna go to Dave Post, but he didn't show up. So.
You know how I know
Are you
you're
gonna-
good? You know who Sarah Bareilles is.
Are you gonna keep pounding on Katy Perry and Sarah Bareilles? Because I'm getting ready to hit the stop
Honestly,
button right
it was
now.
gonna be Taylor Swift's Fearless, but I didn't think enough people would know who Taylor Swift is.
Oh no.
I am secure, and I like some of this music.
Well,
So,
I love cats.
the final
Every kind of cat.
Cats on Rainbows.
Rainbow.
The final award of the week is the MapQuest Where Am I Award, going to Chris Masakowski. I'm sorry, but if the third game, I think it was the third period, Pete Lundsted's got roughing the game. He's got the puck going for a face-off, and Chris Masakowski is standing like 5 feet to the left, ready to take the face-off, and it's like, wait, where's the face-off? It's 5 feet over there, and then he doesn't even turn and walk toward the invisible red circle. He shuffles to the left, like strafing.
I'm gonna step in and defend Chris here.
He did like a hermit crab thing.
Chris never takes face-offs for the team, and so I think he was when someone nudged him over to go over to the other side. I think that he thought he was supposed to go to the wing, and then when they were like, "No, take the face-off," I just don't think he knew. He's never taken one for us. So I understand. I'm just defending my teammate, doing my duty.
You got to do you, man. But it was just from upstairs. It looked hysterical. He was ready to take.
I thought that was their game plan for the third. Cause
Oh, it's like me.
that happened right after the timeout. I thought that was their new thing.
We're trying to kill time.
I can relate to Chris. I don't think I took a face off in this league for like 4 years. I don't know why. I just was scared to do it, and I didn't. So I could see me totally pulling one of those.
So I think that's we're wrapping up here. So let me ask a quick question. It is primary season. Out of this league, who would you vote for president? And who do you think would make his best vice president? And any other cabinet type positions that you want to call out? So could be chief of staff, could be just other cabinet positions that are appointed later. But first and foremost, who are you voting for president out of our league? Let's try to keep it as unpolitical as possible.
Are we allowing foreigners like Canadians?
Yeah, there's no
No rules.
truthers here,
Yeah.
or birthers,
Natural
or
born
whatever
residents.
they're called.
It's on the check, because
Yeah.
it's contentious.
No, it's a good point. Anyone? Well, I didn't. Again, it's true to form. I didn't look at this first, so I'm kind of scrambling at myself. Honestly, I wouldn't want to vote for anyone that wants the position, if you ask me.
Yeah, I guess I'll start. I think for president, I'm gonna go with Chris Magic 8 Ball.
He's back.
He's a people pleaser. He really wants to make everybody happy. He wants to go out of his way to make sure that everybody is getting what they need. So I feel like he'd make a great president. Vice president, probably Mike Furlano. They're doing a lot of shit right up there, up in Canada. So I feel like he brings some of that down here, and we kind of get on the ball.
Well, then you can just apologize to Chris after he screws up.
Yeah, or if Chris somehow doesn't please him, then he's there to take that and not really bring it up because he's a nice guy. Chief of staff, maybe Paul Paradine because he's Canadian too, and I feel like if he wasn't in Washington D.C., he'd rent a car from wherever he was and show up when there was an important decision needing to be made.
All right. Anyone else ready, or I can jump in if you guys aren't? Kent, you look ready?
I am. I'm super ready. I think our guy the Bob here. I think he's present. He's a smooth talker, and he's always got stats to back up his position.
I make up half the shit I say.
That's right. And you know what? Even if it's not right, he'll make it sound right, and you'll be scratching your head later.
It's making the Lions team great again.
And as VP, I think just to get the female vote, we're going with Patrick Cousin.
Ooh. Forgot about that demographic. I love it. You strategically placing the VP to get another demographic
That's
to
right.
vote.
That's it. That's what you got.
That's
Alright.
it's pretty shallow, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I've got a relatively shallow ballot myself here. I'm going to go with John Chatterton for Prez. I think he does a great job running the league. He puts he knows how to identify talent, put people around him like Jeremy or other people that help out in the league. So he's good at delegating, coordinating, or coercing. For vice president, I'm going to go with Jamie Habitsruther. I just think the guy can fill a variety of different roles. He kind of does whatever you need him to do. He can play second fiddle, and I think he does well there.
I'm seeing a beard theme here.
Oh shoot! I gotta pick the next guy a different thing because I'm gonna go with a babyface guy for the third guy. Head of the Secret Service, Chris Enright, because he would just crack skulls and throw people on the walls and stuff, and I think that he would definitely protect John and Jamie as long
He
as
definitely showed no emotion while he did it.
and he would be alert
Stone
and ready
face.
at all times. So those are my presidential candidates.
So I'm gonna go. I think a little surprise choice for president. I'm gonna go Alex Packard.
Ooh, Alex! I should have voted for Alex for president.
Now here's why I vote for Alex, because Alex likes to do the acting thing, and I feel politics is you gotta act. You gotta be a good speaker. You gotta be a presenter. You gotta read off a teleprompter well. So I think Alex is great for that. Yup. For my vice president, I'm gonna go with Joe Gant. Because Joe looks vice presidential.
He does.
He's got the hair.
Slap a suit on that guy.
Yeah, and the vice president, they really don't do anything. They're just supposed to stand
just
up there
look great.
and look good. So that's why I got Joe. And for chief of staff, I got our own Jeremy Bonet here. Because listen, Jeremy does all the hard work. And that's what the chief of staff does. They're behind the scenes doing all the shit and taking care of business. And I feel like that's what Jeremy does with all the stat keeping and everything like that. So that would be my three choices.
There you go. Kurt, you got
I do, yeah. It's funny. I had
Secret
Jeremy.
ballot.
Jeremy was my, he was going to be my press secretary.
Ooh,
I think he's got the voice for it. I think that he could get up there and BS and stonewall his way through any questions from the press.
See my answer.
I had Gaffey.
It's the
Gaffey is my
Commerce.
Secretary of State because he's pretty much traveling everywhere anyway. Might as well just tap into that. Tim Scott's my Supreme Court nominee. Just I think he makes some pretty. He's very regal up there when he's reffing, and there's no arguing with him.
No,
So I don't
He's
think
black and white.
yeah, it's very black and white.
I would deny that nomination.
I know, well, and it is, yeah. That's why I'm going with guys
Just kidding, Tim.
that are pretty much untouchable. No, he's not. He's not kidding at all. There's guys that you can't touch for my presidential nominees. I'm going with two guys on my own team, actually. Jeff Burge for president, because I feel like that guy's got a record. There's no attacking it, and I feel like they're going to dig up dirt on him, and there's going to be no dirt to dig.
No, that's true.
And but just in case, I'm going to have
Unlike Joe Gann who killed the guy in Buffalo.
It's true. And then I'm going to have John Vice Strachan as my vice, because no one ever remembers who the vice president is. But I feel like he's got the hair, too. I think he can give, when he's running against
Underrated
Joe,
hair.
it's going to be the battle of the vice presidents, because I feel if he's going to run up against Joe Gant, it's going to come down to hair.
Any other surprise picks? No Secretary of Defense, that was left a softball out there. Nothing? Nobody?
Maybe Newberry.
Nobody on Run DMC, that's for sure.
Maybe Tim
Oh, wow.
And on that note, thanks for listening to the Circle of Jerks Week 6 recap. Stay tuned and keep paying attention for the Week 7 preview. Is it Wednesday?